Welcome to this meditation for July from the National Unitarian Fellowship. July is the month when the harvesting begins, reaping what has been sown in the spring or even earlier. Schools close for holidays in July because in the old days the children could help in the fields with the harvesting. The glory of summer is at a peak. Everything in the garden has grown to its full height, and all the space in the borders is filled with colour and greenery. The bees are in constant attendance. And when we walk through the woods along the river near our home, the green canopy has given way from the light green of spring growth to a rich maturity that darkens the path, and birds sing away hidden amongst the branches. We breathe the rich oxygen-filled air. The narrow river follows its course, sometimes still and unmoving, sometimes bubbling along in the shallows, rattling the stones. It pours noisily over the steps and the weirs, reminding us of its power. And the innocent ducks are the owners of the river, gliding up and down and always checking. The wild meadows of this nature walk demand our attention with their stillness. The grass is high, almost as tall as we are, and is sprinkled with yellows and whites and purples. It feels timeless. It feels spiritual. Here is a corner of nature that spends the whole year undisturbed. Its beauty lies hidden within itself. During the dark months of the year, it reveals nothing. The rising spring sun wakes it up and restores it to life. Everything grows with freedom and abandon, each colour striving for its place in the mass. And we stand before it and feel it is for our glory too. It lifts our spirits even though we know within another month it will begin to fade and retreat, sinking back into the earth. July sings the song of summer at full volume. Its music resonates with the song in our hearts. No wonder we feel happy. No wonder we feel spiritual. Happiness is a wonderful gift, and it only takes a moment for its light to be switched on. A word, a look, a snatch of song, a memory, a stimulating beauty inflate the spirit in a moment. Joy and love burst upwards and outwards in a fountain of delight. And then maybe it subsides because the experience is too rich, too wonderful, but it leaves its mark as a memory for all time. We can learn to be happy. Happiness is not a gift that comes from outside. It is within us, waiting to respond. The magic moment triggers it, but it can live on in a low light all the time. The secret of being happy, I read, begins with gratitude, being grateful for being alive, being grateful for family and friends, for where you live, and saying so. Gratitude is positive. Of course, there are times when we are unhappy. Life is not an even experience. It has its ups and downs. But even then the downs can be turned up. It requires an attitude of mind to switch away from the negative thoughts and look instead at what is positive, on what remains good. Pick out what is good still and express gratitude for them. Saying thank you is as important as just feeling grateful. Speaking our thanks somehow solidifies our feelings. Saying thank you to someone lifts their feelings too. They feel appreciated, and their happiness light switches on. How often do we go through the supermarket checkout? And how often do we say thank you to the person on the till? The poet Epicurus wrote about happiness all those centuries ago. His message was to be grateful for what you have. Even in his day there was materialism. He said that people made themselves unhappy by wanting to have things which they didn't really need. The happy ones are the ones who are content with life. Let us treat July as a month of thanksgiving, being grateful for what we have in life, being grateful for our families and our friends, being grateful for the beauty of nature around us, being grateful and saying thank you for what we receive, whether it's a bus ride, a home delivery, or service in the shop. Let us spread happiness by being grateful. I'm Tony McNeile, the Minister to the National Unitarian Fellowship. The National Unitarian Fellowship is open to all who seek inspiration from the world's wisdoms and religions. It is open to all who are seeking a spiritual path. We do not discriminate on grounds of faith, colour, age, or sexual orientation. We believe that everyone has the right to live in peace and be free of fear. The National Unitarian Fellowship is a spiritual home for lone travellers who have found fellowship in each other. Thank you for taking the time to watch.